So let me ask you a question. So we talked, and we were talking before we started shooting today. You've got a lot of bottles. You've got a lot of different stuff. But if you were gonna tell somebody to go that's just getting into bourbon, if you were gonna tell them, hey, these are some bourbons. These are the top 2 or 3 bourbons that you should go try that are on the shelf, easy to find, that you think, based on your knowledge of bourbon, as long as you've been out there collecting and drinking bourbon and everything else, where would you steer them? You've seen our shows and where we've kind of talked about some things, but where would you steer people and say these are some bottles that are accessible, affordable, and these are things that you should try?
My first go-to for somebody that is a new to bourbon guy, you can't go wrong with the Old Forester. Old Forester has been around forever, and they have so much to offer. And if you don't like the Statesman, you can go for what they call the
1920.
They've got a bourbon rogue, and they've got different proofs. If you don't like the 115, they've got a 90 proof. But they don't have anything under an 80. Right. And that's basically what the bourbon market is. You don't want to drink something 80, right. Unless you're not a very heavy drinker or can handle a higher proof. I don't advocate jumping in a 130 Elijah Craig right off the get-go.
But they're good.
You might be on the floor.
But they're good.
But yeah, they are good. But Old Forester, man, you can't go wrong with Old Forester. Right. It's affordable. Right. It's not going to piss off your wife when you come home and say, I've got a bottle of Forester.
So when we're talking about proof, and we talk about, ending up on the floor with a 130, we have mentioned this numerous times when we've done tastings, and even in some of our blind tastings, not all 130 bourbons, when you drink them, they don't feel as hot as 130. You might have, something that's 120 is pretty common in your, higher proof range. One that's a 120 might taste a little bit more like a 100. And others that are 100 might.
But from a proof standpoint, the taste may be different. But
the taste may be different.
But you still have to be cautious
the same alcohol,
about
same alcohol content. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Same ABV. But what I'm saying is, don't be intimidated by the higher proofs because you're afraid of the Kentucky Hug or the Burn or whatever, because they don't all have that same hotness, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
A lot of times, those higher proofs, you get a little bit more flavor out of them. Yeah. So, that's what I've always found.
You do get a lot of the more of what the bourbon is. Right. Because it comes out at higher proof. That's what it was barreled. Yeah. So you're tasting what it originated and became. This is the product that they were trying to distill and make.
That's right.
When it's a higher proof, you can always proof it down with some ice or some water. But if you get a sip of it, don't be afraid of it, because you get a true taste of what comes out of the barrel.
If you look at these bottles here, you can see some color variation, but they're pretty close.
They're consistent.
They're pretty consistent with what you're seeing. So the char level that's in the barrel, so that's what's helping give it some of that color. The oak, all of those things are giving that bourbon the color that it has, but these are all pretty close. But all right, so Old Forester was one. What's
another one I would say that has such a variation? We were talking earlier about Four Roses. Mm-hmm. They have so many yeast variations that when their distillate comes out and it's barreled and it ages and then they release it, there are so many different flavor profiles. Somebody says, well, I may not like Four Roses. But you turn around and you look at the yeast combination, and those yeast combinations change the flavor profile. It can all be aged the same years, but the yeast combinations can give you a floral taste, a fruity taste. Some will give you a more spicy taste. And you just have to go through and find what Four Roses bottle suits your palate.
And they give a little hang tag on these single barrels like this, and it actually tells you all 10 recipes right here. You can also go online and look at it, but it'll tell you what they taste like.
I like there's a code.
I always like Four Roses bottle.
He loves Four Roses. Who doesn't like Four Roses?
That's like Valentine's Day. You give your wife a bottle of roses.
All right. So Four Roses, Old Forester. So Old Forester's Brown Foreman. Four Roses makes a bunch of different flavor profiles, as you just said, 10 different ones. So what else? I'm trying to get the three.
I would say a lot of people have always heard of Wild Turkey.
Oh, man.
And there are so many varieties that the Russell family has produced. And I don't think you could go wrong with picking up one. And if you don't seem to like that, there's another. So
And another.
Again, as I say before, with Four Roses, they make a lot of different varieties. And with Old Forester, same thing. Russell's family puts a lot of effort into bringing a great bourbon to the bourbon community, and they are striving and always reaching for another great product to release. And I haven't had one yet that I just said, I can't drink this.
I agree with that. I've never had a bad Russell's. I haven't had
Russell's is
yet.
great. I'd say that's a go-to, and I think you'll be proud of it when you buy it.
Yeah. I think that's one of the things. I think the Russells have done a tremendous amount for the industry, just like Four Roses has, just like the No family has done from Jim Beam. I'm not a fan of all the Jim Beam products. He's almost gone.
That's what happens when
That's what happens to him.
See how quick that happens?
Yeah, but I think I'm not a huge. I don't like everything Beam produces, but
No.
I will say I think for what they've done for the industry, for what they've between Fred and Freddie, now that Freddie's doing his the new stuff that he's doing with Little Book.
Yeah.
He's coming out with some cool stuff. He's trying to innovate. He's trying to keep people interested in the industry. I just think these families that have had this steep tradition in bourbon for so long are really doing some things that have made this industry really exciting.
Yeah,
and that's why channels like us why we can do what we do when we're filming these channels and we get to know
types.
we've got to know each other because of bourbon
Yeah.
and become friends because of it.
Yes.
So I think that's we always talk about drinking, enjoying, and sharing bourbon, and that's really what this bourbon community is really all about.
It's just surprising how bourbon can bring people together. Like when you're standing in a line, like you guys were saying, standing in a line, you're standing there and conversations start up, and then you meet people, and then you form friendships.
Yep.
You'd be surprised at the friendships and the connections you can make just standing in line waiting for a store to open. I mean, it's like Black Friday for bourbon, but it's the truth that everybody has the same common thread, and it's the enjoyment of a fermented beverage that is just. It's just really
tastes really good.
It's really a bring together type beverage.
And the other thing that I've noticed too is, and
Always get low, but
yeah, I know. But we talk about it in some of the other bourbon groups that we're a part of. I've got friends in Nashville, Tennessee that are part of big groups and stuff. And the one thing that I've found too is there's a tremendous amount of charity work and charity and supporting the community that goes into whether it's your local store or doing barrel picks and donating bottles, or people donating a trio of Pappy or whatever to help raise money for a particular event. There's an awful lot of people that will give to help support communities and support certain things, whether it's veterans or whatever else in the community. It's really an interesting part of this whole community. Yeah.
Bourbon's not an easy thing to make. It takes a long time. It takes effort. It's done in an old-fashioned way. And the way that these charities are set up is the same way.
Yeah.
It's done the old-fashioned way. It's not easy. It's not fun. It's something that needs to be done, and it's great when you get done. Yeah. And they do a great job. They really do. There's a lot of folks in the bourbon industry that are doing a great job of raising funds.
There are a lot of bourbon distillery companies that come out with commemorative bottles, and they will recognize a group like veterans. They will recognize a season. They will recognize different charities. And when these bottles are sold, these distilleries take a percentage of the sales and donate those. Mm-hmm. And even if it's not a bottle you want to just go out and bust out and just pop the top and drink it, put it on your shelves. We helped out a group there. Yep. It may not be a large amount out of one person's pocket, but a small amount out of every person's pocket makes a great effort And the bottles are usually a limited edition, and they are a rarity. You can't just find them everywhere. Smoke Wagon did one.
They did.
And man, it was a good bourbon. My commemorative bottle's empty.
It was pretty good.
It was a commemorative salute, you know. It was a long sip, I tell you. But
That's great.
what would you like to try next?
What do you think we ought to try next? Now that we've tried these, what's something different that you think we haven't had?
We've been sipping on some 93 and some higher and some 103. I've been looking at that straight from the barrel and just see what you guys think of this.
You and I are on the same page.
There's a
I have-
130 right there.
Yeah, so 130.2, and it was dumped in 2018, third month, 21st day. That's probably somebody's birthday out there. If I have a second, let us know. Y'all open that up and enjoy.
Gold wax.
First time I've ever opened a gold one.
Maybe the last time.
I don't wait till last.
You got it.
Yeah. All right, pop that.
What did you do? No noise. No noise. It's all good.
I was dumped in 2018, but it has been kept in a climate-controlled room.
Why are you pouring such small pour?
Because it's 132, Bill. Thanks, loaded up.
One thing I would say about bourbon, if you are going to start a collection and you're going to start acquiring bourbon and you're going to have shelves of it, try and keep it in a room that's the same temperature and keep it out of the sun. Keep it away from a window and keep it up on a shelf or somewhere where it's not going to be disturbed with sunlight. You don't want to keep it in your garage.
So how am I doing here? Am I good here?
Hey man, you're doing great. I've been looking up here. I'm sure the camera's caught my eyes drifting.
That's all right.
But
Ooh, that's good.
you know, the thing about bourbon, it's
good.
like a lot of things. You know, your skin doesn't do well in the sun, and bourbon doesn't do well in the sun either.
We never know.
So-
we might find something to trade.
What, skin?
No, I'm talking about we might find something up here to trade.
I could use some skin.
Yeah, I mean,
Bourbon, that's the
unreal.
thing about the bourbon community. People have bottles that other people. You have a second. You know, so I'll trade for this, and it's just a fun community to be involved in. You know,
so you interested in trading that Boss Hog up there?
I wouldn't take that. I'd give you a bottle of Blanton's to keep it.
Okay.
Deal.
Ding. That deal is done.
But like I say, it's like everything else.
This is
Everybody
really
has
good.
a different palate.
Yeah.
Some people really like that Boss Hog.
You know, I've heard from 3 or 4 people about the caraway seed piece of that. They just don't like it.
No. I don't like
Caraway seed
It's
is
not
in
bourbon.
sausage that you get on pizza.
Yeah.
Caraway seed is in other seasonings, so wheat bread.
Yeah.
I think that was their goal to try and achieve that. But you know,
Sausage bread.
caraway seed, in just my opinion, that's one of the grains I've never seen on any bourbon.
Ever. Except for that one.
And it won't ever be in one, I hope. You know.
Don't drink your sausage.
Yeah.
Is that
You eat
what-
sausage on a pizza and you drink your bourbon in a glass made from
Let's keep it
a
that way,
reputable
right?
distillery there.
That is by far the best that I've had today.
Yes.
That is a good bourbon.
That is
Agreed.
unbelievable.
That is a
good.
true Blanton's. That is a Blanton's.
That is
has
a really close second.
Yep.
pardon the expression, but that is a very straightforward Blanton's. It has been what they call unmolested. It has no water been added to it. There's nothing been anything touched it other than dumped out of the barrel, run into the bottle, and presented out to the public.
That's amazing.
That is unreal.
But it does not drink at 130.
No, there's no chance.
And that is one of the bottles that, you know, people can get a hold of. And I always suggest, if you get a bottle with high proof, drink with respect. And that's what bourbon, I think, requires when you're drinking a 115 to a 130.
Yeah, I agree.
You don't drink it like you're drinking water. You sip it.
You mean
you
through a straw?
Yeah, but fun. But you creep up on the bourbon. Don't let the bourbon creep up on you.
Yeah, that's really good.
You enjoy it for what it is, and you never abuse it.
That's amazing.
He's saying take smaller sips.
Absolutely, enjoy it. It's like you don't eat a steak in one bite. You cut it into pieces. Same thing with a great bottle of bourbon.
I saw a guy eat a fillet. I saw a guy eat a 12-ounce fillet in 4 bites one time.
It's just if you abuse anything, eventually you'll be on the floor, even with a fillet. You know.
He ended up on the floor.
That's weird.
But yeah, the straight from the barrel is one of the best flavored bourbon expressions that I've had.
I think you hit the nail on the head right there. It's the flavor. It's the straight from the barrel.
Yep.
There is nothing changing the flavor of that bourbon from the way it's been sitting in the barrel for 6 years or as it's been.
That's
growing,
8 years.
Or 8 years.
Yes.
I mean, that straight from the barrel is amazing.
That is unbelievable.
Full flavored. I mean, you can taste
lingers.
it lingers, a great finish, great front end,
It's good,
everything
but
about
it's
that.
like I get flavors of creme brulee in it.
Okay,
actually.
I can get that.
You know, you get the vanilla, the
vanilla
caramelized
for
sugar. Even after an empty glass, you can still savor it.
Oh yeah.
And it's, you know,
pleasing.
just out of curiosity, and I saw this on a channel, and the guy says, pour a shot of some of your greatest bourbon, leave it on the counter, and come back the next morning.
Huh.
Get your flavor profile, take a sip, come back the next morning and see how it's done. And I did that. And the next morning, I got more tobacco and leather than I ever had off of just drinking the bottle, you know, a pour straight out of the bottle, letting it sit about 10 minutes even on the table. The next morning, it was a totally different bourbon, but air had been coming across it. Of course, the air
Well, the
conditioner.
alcohol evaporates
It does.
and it leaves the flavor, which is very
Yes,
different
so very
from
good
proofing
point.
down with water.
That's right.
Well, you know, we talked
Because
about
the
that.
waters down the flavor also.
So we talked about that when we did 10 Cup. We were talking about, you know, we did the 10 Cup 10
Exact
year.
thing. Yep.
And
I saw that episode.
Yeah.
That's a good bottle too. By the
Yeah.
way.
Episode 2.
Yeah, and what was interesting is, you know, me, when I smell bourbon, I just
Bill can't smell anything.
I don't, every now and then I'll pick up something. Okay, but when we talked about that 10 Cup, you had already used that. You'd use the cup
Yep.
and put it back on the bottle.
Yeah, that little
And then-
topper. That's still on shot glass.
Yeah,
Yes.
and I could smell I picked up a lot of the different
A lot more
flavors. So what
smells.
you're talking about coming back the next day,
Yeah.
some of that is just being able to get some of those extra flavors and stuff. And I think it's pretty.
It's
probably
like what
similar to
David
that.
said. You know, a lot of the alcohol has evaporated, but the purity of the bourbon itself has not disappeared. The tannics, the caramelized sugars, the oak, it doesn't evaporate. It concentrates in the glass.
So
It was good. I liked it. But I can't let one sit overnight. I'm going to have to get up in the middle of the night and go find that bottle.
That's
Well, you can
willpower.
pour a second one for that purpose.
Yeah,
That's right.
That's when that cat knocks it over.
that was the question I was going to ask: is if you pour a full glass and it sits overnight, does that mean you can drink the whole glass and not worry about anything because there's no alcohol left in it?
I wouldn't say there's no alcohol.
Oh, okay.
I would say there's always alcohol in it.
Okay.
Because
So before work's not a good.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that.
alcohol,
Smells still
to
there.
my understanding,
During work.
and I'm not a scientist, but I think alcohol evaporates from the top only. It's like gas fumes.
We'll have to look that up.
They come up, they evaporate from the top. They do not evaporate from the bottom. And
Gotcha.
alcohol has to rise up. So
That
after
makes
a
sense.
period of time, I guess it's sitting on the counter long enough, eventually alcohol
long
is going to
time.
rise and the bourbon will dissipate and the alcohol will
Makes
go
sense.
on. But I tell you,
Don't
man,
try to
I-
over-science this.
I tried it,
Just enjoy
and it
enjoy
was
it.
great, you know. But I did feel a lot of difference in the alcohol consumption of it. There wasn't as much in it, but there was a whole different flavor profile.
So you
yeah.
consumed more, is what you're saying?
No, I consumed the same glass that was there, but it tasted totally different than when I did my Glencairn prior to pouring that out.
Okay. So you drank that glass,
Right.
And did you have to pour another glass to compare to make sure you knew what you were comparing?
Probably should.
You probably should have.
I didn't need to.
But
I
you
knew
did.
what I drank that night before because that bottle I had been drinking. I knew what
Gotcha.
I knew the flavor profile of that, and that brand of bourbon was very consistent.
Gotcha.
So when
That's
I left
nice.
it out overnight, the bourbon changed. But it didn't change, in my opinion, for the worst. I like the tobacco flavor.
Oh, cool.
I'm not a smoker and I'm not a dipper. But I'm not a coffee drinker either, but I love the smell of coffee brewing.
Yeah, I like how it smells.
But when I came back to that glass the next morning, I was like, and I didn't have to work that day. So, but it changed for me in a positive manner because I liked the flavor that it changed to. Some people may not, but it was just an experiment that I did on my own, you know. And those are fun experiments you can do at home. You can try them. You can take one and put it in the refrigerator and keep it cold all night and then try it the next morning. Alcohol does not seem to dissipate in the colder weather.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
It doesn't. That's very true.
Yep. So,
Is that correct?
man, you can pour as much as you would love to. Pardon my southern slang. I am from the South. I am what I am. But I do love bourbon.
We love it.
But
This is unbelievable.
but yeah, it's
That's
fun.
by far the best one.
You'll see a lot of old timers that keep their liquor in the freezer.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And there was one fellow was going to try that, and he put a bottle of 80 proof in it. I would not recommend because it will freeze. It will. 90 proof and above only will not freeze. But he went in there, and his bottle was broke, and his slushy was there amongst his other frozen goods.
Oof.
And he said he was disappointed. I said, "That's too weak. You alcohol will freeze at a point, you know." But I've only kept my moonshine in the freezer.
There you go. Golly, that is.
But fellas, I tell you what, man, there's another bottle sitting there, and that drops down in 80 proof, and it is the Blanton's Black. It is the Japanese bottle. It is a 70 centiliter or milliliter bottle, and it is a different profile. Does not have as much alcohol content, but there's a flavor profile there that is different.
So
from
it is
the
different?
others. Oh, absolutely. Anytime you proof an alcohol down, you're going to change the profile.
Right.
And some of it may be great if you're there for the flavor. If you're there for the liquor, you might as well just go get some Everclear
I
and
agree.
plan on spending the night in the lawn chair.
We are here for the flavor.
But that's what bourbon is a lot about, is the flavor.
Yep.
And how the wood interacts and the spring and the fall and the seasons create this wonderful elixir.
Now, this is going to be a big step, though.
This is a big step.
I mean, we're going from 130 to 80.
130.
Well, this will let you realize what the profiles can change. This is something that may or may not be to your liking. But I will say, this is an offering that they put out there, and it is something that's available. If you can find it, it's highly allocated. But an 80 proof liquor is something that some people do want to attain and drink regularly.
All right. Let's see what this
Let's
sounds
see if
like.
this one sounds good.
There you go.
That one sounds good.
I think.
Well, I still got some in this yellow pour. I'll
We
in a second.
know that the straight from the barrel may not have sounded great on the pop, but it delivered on the flavor.
Sure did. Delivered big time.
Yeah.
Sure.
It wasn't a dud firecracker. It
That's
just
for
wasn't.
sure.
It was one of them just made of a little sparkle, but the boom was in the glass.
Yeah, no joke.
right.
It was definitely in the glass.
Ready for this?
Man, that's good. That straight from the barrel is going to be hard to beat. Let's see.
Yeah, I agree. I've always loved the straight from the barrel
Oh, this
and the gold.
smells totally different.
Light.
It
It
is.
is a light.
Caramelly and light is what I get. You can tell even from the color side of it.
It is
You can
different.
tell a lot of difference in the color.
But it's still got a decent flavor.
It does.
It has a sweet flavor. And if it's something you want to sip on and not have all of the alcohol in your beverage and the flavor that you're after, you still can get a very good, enjoyable drink,
This is good.
even on a lower proof
Definitely
blend.
light. Definitely light.
I get a light tobacco off of this.
Do you?
Yeah. Anybody else get tobacco?
Yeah, vanilla. Blanton's is famous for vanilla.
so let me ask you a
it
question.
does. Yeah.
If you were comparing that 80 proof to Eagle Rare, you think they're similar?
No. Eagle Rare is a 10-year bourbon.
Right.
Even though it's similar production, comes from the same distillery, the age is a little less in this. The proof is a lot less, But a 10-year Eagle Rare, I think, is at 90 proof.
It is.
They have several variations of the Eagle Rare. They have the starred bottle, and but when you're looking at age in a barrel, you're going to completely get a different profile from maybe a 6 to 8 year bottle compared to a 10-year.
10-year gets a lot of flavor.
Yeah.
Yes, I do like the Eagle Rare. When I first drank it, the first thing I got was, a lot of brown sugar.
Okay.
I got that.
A lot of barrel time.
Yeah, I was like, wow, there's a lot of brown sugar in this. And then as I drank more of the Eagle Rare, of course, they changed profile. And I'll tell you this, it seems like if you drink a bottle, okay, if you drink on it, and everybody's talking about the regular daily drinkers, okay, what's your daily drinker? Well, if you take a bottle and you drink it the first day, and then you drink it the second day, by the third day, your palate has changed for that particular bourbon.
That's right.
Absolutely.
You have become acclimated to that.
You like that.
And there are certain flavors that will be drawn out more and more, and then certain flavors will dissipate, and you'll lose that as you drink that bottle more on a regular basis.
Yeah, we did a blind for one of our other shows, and in that blind was a Penelope, the architect. And that's one that I've been drinking. I've been drinking some of the Penelopes. I like the flavor profile of the Penelopes. It's all MGP. MGP just bought Penelope for whatever, 100 million, 105 million, whatever it was. I mean, I for a daily drinker, for me, I kind of like the profile of some of their stuff.
Yeah.
But in the blind, I've been drinking that for a couple days.
Right.
And when we got into the blind with it, I didn't know it was. I didn't pick it number one. I mean, I picked it I think I picked it
I
last.
think it was last.
And
So
so,
acclimated.
so from my standpoint, and to be honest with you, I picked it behind things that I didn't think I would like at all.
Yeah.
And ended up picking it last and picked something else.
Doing blinds is fun.
Yeah.
Yes.
It will teach yourself about your palate.
Yeah.
It'll teach yourself about what bourbons that you mentally thought you liked better than others.
Yep.
That's 100% true.
Well, we hit on
We
a couple.
discovered
We discovered that in some of the blinds we did. I mean, David was talking about that he didn't like larceny, and then all of a sudden we had larceny in the blind, blew him away.
I was surprised.
So we were surprised through some of the blinds. I mean, that's the cool thing is, I mean, we were trying to pick distilleries and stuff like that. And I mean, for me, it's just I don't know enough about it to be able to pick all the distilleries and stuff. But I actually was able to pick some of the distilleries around it.
Yeah.
But I didn't. I never got any of them right. But I when we were doing the blind, I at least was in the ballpark and had some of the distilleries, in the ball game. So
You talking about larceny. See them old fits you got up there?
I see them.
That's what it is.
A larceny barrel proof is a unaged, basically, old fits. Same mash bill, just not many years on the age. It's a young barrel proof bourbon that is very good and very tasteful.
We found out it was pretty good.
But I've done
I was
experiments.
pleasantly surprised.
I've done. Hey, I'll tell you what, it will wake you up, and then you'll think, wow, But I've done some stuff with, you get these. You can buy these stuff from different stores that are the small barrels, and you can age your own whiskey.
Oh, yeah.
But it's sometimes fun to do some experiments with stuff like the larceny.
Right.
If you put it in there for 6 months, the smaller the barrel, the more it will age quicker in time. But you can experiment with that, relatively inexpensive.
Oh, that's right.
And find out the process of how things can change. And, hey, I've ruined a lot of good bottles, but I have made a few that were pretty good, and I was surprised. But it's something fun. It's a hobby. It's like I say,
Absolutely.
collecting's a hobby, but also experimenting with the profiles and see if you can age your whiskey, change it. Now I saw a man that he took a bottle and he dropped some oak chips in it. Put the cork back on it. 3 weeks later, went back. It was a lot darker. I asked him, I said, man, would you put coffee in there? He said, no, just that oak did that. He said, let's check it out. And it had changed the profile of that bourbon.
Yeah, I bet it
And
did.
we did have a bourbon that was original beside it, and it tasted those oak chips. That poor fellow, I don't know where he got that oak tree from, but I'd like to have the rest of it.
I heard that.
But it changed that bourbon in such a positive way in such a short time. But it didn't add any proof to it.
Well, okay. So all the barrels that bourbon's put into are charred.
Correct.
So it strips away. The char obviously gives it its color and a lot of flavor.
Mm-hmm.
But when you char that barrel, you're stripping away a lot of the oak taste that's in natural oak. So I would think when you put that oak chip in there that's not charred,
Right.
then you're getting a tremendous amount of oak flavor in the
It's a
flavoring
green
because
oak. It's a
yeah,
green oak
It's
flavor.
I would say an uncured oak.
uncured.
Yeah.
When they char, one thing they do in a char, and there's a 1 to 4 char level. When you get a heavier char, you get more of the alligator effect into the oak. But one thing about the heat on the oak, and most distilleries will bring this forward. We use this char. We use that char.
Either 3 or 4.
And what happens when they do the char is they're caramelizing the sugar. And sometimes the sugar is deeper in the wood than other barrels. That's why I'm going to refer back to a single barrel will change per barrel.
It just depends.
It's just where they had to go to reach that sugar in that oak. But that char, sometimes, I'll be honest with you, sometimes the char 4 will ruin a bourbon.
Yeah.
And a char 2 will taste better. But then again, it's all back to the wood itself. Wood is wood.
Never know.
You never know.
Well, and then you have the difference too between char and toasted. So
Yes.
the toasted barrel is subjected to lower amounts of heat for a longer period of
They're not
time.
burning
Whereas
it.
char is it 45 seconds or depending on the
that,
char, somewhere it's a matter of seconds rather than minutes.
I've seen them do char barrels, and I got kind of concerned. I stepped back.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm like, this thing
This is a
yeah, same
campfire,
here.
you know?
Oh, yeah.
This is no longer a char. This is a campfire.
I was going to say, this thing's on fire.
Yeah. But the toast,
Somebody got a
they
hose.
put it in there, and it almost kind of seals the oak.
But let me
when
ask
the
you,
bourbon gets in it and then comes back out.
but the toasted barrels are generally a secondary process, though, right?
Toasted?
Sometimes it'll be the second
Some
barrel.
are.
Sometimes it's the
If
second
it's
barrel.
toasted,
That's right.
Finished.
Sometimes.
Right. So it's finished in a toasted barrel.
Finished in a toasted barrel is different than aged in a toasted barrel.
But are they? But okay,
It'll be usually a double oaked, and the second process is
okay.
done in
But
that.
if it's
toasted barrel.
if they're putting it in a toasted barrel and it doesn't meet the char level, is it bourbon?
If it's a new oak barrel,
Yeah,
it
it's a
can
new oak
be
barrel.
51% corn, new oak, American oak barrel.
But it has to be charred. If it's toasted, is that classified as charred?
That's a good question. We'll have to seek an
Let's
expert on
reference-
this. But
Reference your,
hey, I don't make it. I just drink
David
it.
Thieves manual, and we'll.
But I'll
find this out.
research it, and I will definitely get you an
That's
answer
good
on
to
that.
know. That would be
But
good
the
to
thing
know.
about it, though, is
Do you like it?
when bourbon came out, they never came out with a toasted barrel. They came out with a charred barrel.
That's right.
From when bourbon started back in 1863.
That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
They got it on there.
I think it was 1863.
I think it's the first.
So it was all charred. And there were just a few companies during the Prohibition era that made medicinal alcohol.
That's right.
And then after that, they had to go through the Depression era.
Yep.
So then a lot of them switched over to making pure alcohol for the war efforts.
That's right.
And again, it was still
Sanitizer and all that
it was
stuff.
like a medicinal. And as we went through the COVID, I'm sure everybody knows about COVID by now. Most of the distilleries had problems with producing alcohol, so they made hand sanitizer.
Yeah, and that stuff smells
And
nasty.
a lot of y'all probably didn't
It works,
realize
but it smells
that you're rubbing Blantons on your hand or Elmer D. Lee or here we go. But it's what they had to adjust to the times. Just as they did at the turn of the century and as they still do now, they adjust to the times to accommodate what the world needs. And that's and in Blanton's right now, we're back to making some good Blanton's bourbon, and
Thank goodness.
we're
Thank
enjoying
goodness.
this, and we're not wiping it on our hands.
Yeah, no
Well,
more COVID.
I tell you what, Brett, this has been a blast.
This has been such an enjoyment, and I appreciate it, Bill.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate you being here.
Jennings,
A lot of fun. Had a blast.
I did too. Thank you very much, Dave.
We appreciate it.
Very good time.
Look,
So good to have you with us.
We appreciate not your willingness to be on the show, sharing your bourbon.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, look, we've opened 3 or 4 bottles here that,
Yep.
I mean, and these are bourbons that most people can't find. And the fact that you share these with us,
Just
we
been
really
blessed
appreciate
enough to acquire them, and I'm very glad to share them.
We appreciate you continuing the tradition of sharing your bourbon with your friends. That's
Yeah.
what it's all about.
That's what it's about. But we appreciate you being here.
Yes, sir.
We appreciate everything you've done. You know, you've been a part of our channel almost from the very beginning. You've
From
been
the very
been
beginning.
following us and watching us, and we really appreciate that. And
Hey, I
and
enjoy it.
You know, for taking the time to be here with us and sharing this, we just really want you to know we.
Hey,
really
I'm,
appreciate it.
I'm very blessed and grateful, and I appreciate you having me on the channel. And I tell you, man, I do look forward to that chime on the phone when y'all release that new video, man.
All right.
That's-
Which is a
and-
good
and
reminder.
Y'all need to check this
To
out, man.
subscribe and hit the little bell so that
Yeah.
you get the
It'll
alerts.
pop up
when we
when it
put
comes
it.
up.
Yeah.
I think this channel was originated for people that are not knowledgeable of bourbon, and that's what I try to do, not only today, but just when people come to my house and visit me. I'm a bourbon guy, you know. I do have tequilas, I have vodkas, I have a lot of choices of liquor for my friends, but bourbon is my drink of choice. And man, you'd be surprised how many friends you can acquire when you start collecting
That's the
bourbon.
truth. Goodness gracious.
It's, it's an odd way of hitting the lottery.
You know, and Brett's kind of the epitome of what we talk about: drink bourbon, enjoy bourbon, and sharing it. And that's what he's done today. He's brought some amazing bottles of Blanton's for us to share today, and he's been gracious enough to let us drink anything we want. And again, Brett, thank you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being part of our channel. Thanks for coming and sharing with this, the Blantons with us. Hope you guys enjoy this. Take the time to, again, subscribe and come back and see us again soon.